What's happening, everyone? Nerd Person Shooter here. Shortly after I stopped playing Monster Hunter Wilds, I looked on the PlayStation Store just because I was curious to see if there's any PS Plus deals to extend uh, my subscription. And for some reason, I was offered a free PS Premium upgrade for the remainder of my subscription tenure. So like the last 2 weeks, I upgraded to PS Plus Premium, except they didn't charge me anything. It was a free upgrade for some reason. I don't know. I'm not going to report it as accidental because I'll take it. So I actually used these last couple weeks to play games that were on my wish list that was on PS Plus Extra. I did make use of PS Plus Premium a little bit by playing some classics. I played a couple hours of some Ratchet and Clank games from the PSP, which were kind of bad in my opinion. But I just wanted to see what they were like. The vast majority of my time was playing games on the PS Plus Extra catalog, four of which came out this year. So I'm gonna do, for the first and probably only time, make a PS Plus game review episode, PS Plus Extra game reviews. One of these games I loved playing. Two of them were okay, and one of them was bad. Really bad. So, going in chronological order of release, not in order of which I played them, but in order of release, just because that's typically how I do these things. I'm going to talk about one of the okay ones, which was Lost Records, Bloom, and Rage. This is a game by the newest game by Don't Nod Entertainment. They are mainly known for their interactive drama series Life is Strange. And I think they also made Tell Me Why. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'll have to look that up, but I thought they also made Tell Me Why. So this is kind of like the same type of game. It's not like, an action game or anything. It doesn't have any combat, really. It is, more or less a point-and-click adventure drama story. You play as kind of like an awkward, lonely, a little overweight teenage girl who forms an unlikely bond with three kind of like other outcast girls who are like really into punk rock, and you just form this really strong relationship, and you soon form a punk rock band called Bloom and Rage, to which no one really likes. The band, I mean, not the genre. On one hand, I like this game a lot. Now, this is a two-part series, a two-part game. They call it Tape 1 and Tape 2. Fortunately, I didn't need to download them individually. I downloaded the game and it gave me both episodes, so that's nice. Now, this game mostly takes place in 1995, but there's actually another timeline where it starts off in 2022, and you're playing as the same woman 17 years later, who gets a mysterious reunion or whatever from another one of her friends that she hung out with, and they got this package from a long time ago that says for Bloom and Rage, and they're really scared to open it, and they don't really know how to open it. And so what they do is they kind of reminisce about the memories of what happened that summer. There is a little bit of a supernatural thing similar to Life is Strange, but unfortunately it acts mostly as a metaphor and doesn't really find its way into the gameplay. The main character that you play as, her name is Swan. She is an avid photographer who goes around taking pictures of different things, and to me, they're collectibles because that's kind of what they function as. But you can also take photos of your friends, and they can say funny stuff. And so the game is about basically forming bonds and you do come across this kind of catalyst that acts as a well, this thing that acts as a catalyst that kind of challenges their loyalty and how they can stick together and stuff. The problem I have with Lost Records Bloom and Rage is the pacing. The first tape I did not really like. I did not like the first tape. It dragged on way too long. Things did not get interesting until literally near the very end of the episode. And it was just really boring. There was nothing really interesting in it. You know, they come across a bully who's dating one of the other girls' sisters. You know, so there is an antagonist. The first tape isn't very memorable. And, you know, going back and forth between 1995 and 2022, I don't like how the women talk and act like almost the exact same way as when they were immature teenagers. You know, that they use, which, look, I'm guilty of it too sometimes because it is a figure of speech, but it is really excessive in this game where every other sentence they're like, this is so awesome. This is so badass. And oftentimes when you do things in the past, you'll hear them talk about it from like the present day and reminisce about it as the game is going on. And the dialogue just doesn't work. They'll say really cringy cliche shit like life was totally different back then, and yet somehow the same. it's 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 too much. Okay, the dialogue is so cringy. The dialogue is so cringy, yo. Maybe I mean that's how teenage girls talk, but it's fucking annoying. Okay, it's really annoying, and it goes on for too long. And there were a lot of times when I just kept rolling my eyes trying to get through tape one. Tape two is a lot better. If tape one is like a 5 out of 10, tape two I'd probably give like a 7 out of 10. Tape two is where things get way more dramatic. Something bad happens to one of the friends, and their lives change, and it's just a much well-written thing, tape two. But unfortunately, like I said, there is some supernatural element to it, but it's on the outside of the gameplay. Whereas in Life is Strange, or at least like the first couple Life is Strange game, I've only played Life is Strange 1 and the prequel, Before the Storm. But all I remember is from Life is Strange 1, you have powers to kind of rewind, you know, rewind time. There were no supernatural gameplay things to Bloom and Rage. It would just take photos and make choices. And so compared to Life is Strange, the gameplay is not interesting at all. It just kind of plays like your regular interactive drama game where you just go with the flow, I guess. I just don't like the dialogue, and the story does get really good near the end of it though. Like tape two, it does get really good, but the pacing is just bad. And you can form romances, lesbian romances with one of your favorite characters or whatever. I chose not to, so Swan ended up alone. Two of the other girls hooked up though. I mean, it was an okay game. You know, it wasn't bad. It was I wouldn't rank it as high as Life is Strange or anything. I haven't played the other Life is Strange games. I actually own them all. I haven't got around to them yet, but I'm guessing they probably rank around the same area. Probably like an average of like a 6 out of 10 is what I would give Bloom and Rage when combining the two episodes. A 6 out of 10. I think it's not nowhere near as good as Life is Strange 1, not quite as good as Before the Storm, but I would probably rank it like slightly higher than, say, Walking Dead Season 3, A New Frontier. I'd rank it a little higher than that. That one wasn't good. But yeah, it was fine. It's not something that I really want to play again. The gameplay just wasn't there, and most of the story I didn't really care much about. But at least it told a story, which is more than what I can say about this next game. FBC Firebreak, which I believe is also on Xbox Game Pass. I just didn't play it at the time when I had Game Pass, but I decided, hey, I heard of this game. I heard it wasn't very good, but I'll try it. Maybe it's a good co-op game. I don't know what to say about this game. According to my PlayStation mobile profile, I didn't even play this game for 2 hours. I played it for like an hour and a half and got bored with it within like an hour. It is a first-person shooter where you play as a group of three kind of like firefighters, and you go around extinguishing fires with different weapon builds, and you shoot flaming zombies that are running after you. It's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies, but nowhere near as fun. Nowhere near. This is not fun. First off, the game's basically dead on arrival. Okay? So, I had a hard enough time finding players, even when I'm the host and I'm playing a game. Every once in a while, someone would like come by, they'd enter my game, and then they'd see how far I am in a mission, and then they'd leave. So I feel like the very few amount of players still playing FBC Firebreak are just either A, looking to see if they can like catch the very end of a match, or B, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. These are the last few people still playing FBC Firebreak, and they are wanderers. They are brainless, I guess, like the zombies that are trying to kill them. Oh my god, FBI. Oh, by the way, this is the worst game I played all year. This is worse than Tron Catalyst. Because at least Tron Catalyst had some interesting things about it. This has nothing interesting about it. There is not one aspect that stands out to me. I guess the shooting is okay, and maybe it looks okay for a video game. Do not try to play this without co-op, because it is not tailored for solo play at all. You will get overwhelmed very quickly playing alone. It is not balanced at all for single player. You can play alone, but don't. It's even less fun than playing with others. And there's only 5 levels. And each level takes like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Yeah, it's that short of a video game. And the objectives are pretty much all the same. Fix this, extinguish that, kill this boss, because there are some like boss zombies or boss enemies. Oh, but you want to know what the best thing about this game is? You get to fight sticky notes. I'm not joking. You fight those, those yellow post-it notes that you write stuff down on and stick to like the fridge and shit. Yeah, you fight those in FBC Firebreak. You also fight sticky note monsters. What the fuck? Who thought of this? What kind of drugs were they on when they made this fucking game? Sticky note monsters. Oh my god, people. Sticky note monsters. Yes. Yes. What a great idea. Fight inanimate things. Make monsters out of inanimate things. Brilliant. Sticky note monsters. What next? Evil stapler man? How about a flying Febreze monster? How about envelopes that fly progressive with flow? Go with the flow. How about progressive envelopes with sharp edges that can cut your head off? How about those? Let's do that. Let's put that in a video game. People will like that. It is a laughingstock of a video game. But I will give it credit for being so fucking absurd. After all, this is by the same studio who delivered some of the most mind-bending, narrative-driven games, like Max Payne, Alan Wake, Control. Yes, Remedy made this game. Remedy, one of the greatest studios of all time right now, made this crap? Really? It's like fucking 2 hours long and there's nothing to do. And there's no story. There's zero story. And how much does this game cost if you don't have a subscription? Is it $15? Is it $20? I mean, that's a little pushing it, but if you enjoy that kind of stuff, $20 maybe? No. It's $40. $40 for a Dead on Arrival co-op shooter with like 2 hours of content. Granted, you can keep playing more and more and like unlock new stuff, unlock new upgrades and cosmetics, but I cannot think of anyone who would want to play this for more than a few hours. I can't. Maybe I just don't have enough friends. All right, I don't know. Maybe I don't understand the appeal. I really don't. FBC Firebreak is a terrible game. I would give it a 3 out of 10, and honestly, that's being generous. I was planning on going for a 2 out of 10. But because of the absurd notion of fighting sticky notes, whoever the creative designer is has to be a very entertaining, eccentric person. So I'm going to bump it up to a fucking 3 just because of that. That's fucking funny, but also fucking stupid at the same time. Play it if you dare. It's fucking awful. Moving on to the second OK game. It was great until I came across a game-breaking bug. And that is the Rogue Prince of Persia by Ubisoft, of course. Actually, no, I think an indie developer developed it, but it's published by Ubisoft. This is a roguelike 2D platforming game. It's kind of like the old Prince of Persia games, but it's roguelite. So you die, but you keep some upgrades and stuff, and it gets a little bit easier and easier. You know what I mean. And I was really enjoying this game. I was really liking it. Not quite as much as last year's The Lost Crown. I mean, to me, that was like almost a near perfect game. It was like a miracle that Ubisoft made something that amazing in this era. Because Ubisoft fucking blows. I mean, 99% of the time they make trash now. But The Lost Crown was like a diamond in the rough in their modern catalog. And, I was playing Rogue Prince of Persia for, a few hours, I think like 4 hours or something. I was really enjoying it. I mean, it wasn't quite as like polished or as tight in controls, and some of the load screens can be really choppy and long when going between areas. But I was thoroughly enjoying it. I really was. Just the action, the different weapons, the controls of, kind of like dodging enemies by vaulting over them and stuff. And it's a really engaging 2D action game with really good exploration. This was in early access for a while, and I'm not really sure why. But maybe, I mean, a game that is really kind of low budget like this, a really low budget indie project, I don't really see the reason why they should do an early access period for it. But now I think this game should not have left early access. This is funny. It's funny I say that now, because during the second boss fight, I encountered a bug where he wouldn't take damage. The boss would not take damage. So no matter how much I got used to its attacks and dodging everything, the fight would go on indefinitely because there was a bug preventing me from beating it. There was a bug preventing me from beating the second boss. God fucking damn it, Ubisoft. Just when I thought they were about to like have at least one franchise that they weren't soiling, that they were still making at least great Prince of Persia games, they fucking dropped the ball here. Now look, I still enjoy the game. I actually enjoy it a lot. I played like another hour after that, but I didn't really see much of a point if I am going to start encountering bugs that halt progress like that. So I'm holding off on it until maybe the next time I get PS Plus, and hopefully that bug will be patched out, ironed out. But you know, I take these things very seriously. I take game-breaking bugs incredibly seriously. I was going to give this game an 8 out of 10. It is now a 6. Yes, I drop it down 2 whole points when a game comes out and has like not just like game-breaking bugs in the sense that you could like find your way around it, or do something to bypass it, or if it's like an optional boss or something, then it's not quite as bad. But this is a mandatory story boss that you must beat to progress, and it's bugged. So, as of right now, the Rogue Prince of Persia for me is a 6 out of 10. It is okay, but it is really fun at least. I would rate it a little better than Lost Records Bloom and Rage, just because of the gameplay and the combat. I enjoy playing it more, but it's a worse product because it is bugged. So hopefully the next time I get to it, because I really do want to play more, man. I didn't really have that many complaints aside from technical issues. I One of my only complaints was that there were no voiced lines, but that's more of a nitpick. There's no voice acting, which I mean, you can still make a good story without voice acting, but it's a shame. It's a game that could have been like one of my favorite games of the year, and that had to happen. So yeah, that sucked. But whatever. Anyway, saving the best for last is a game by the same studio who made other indie masterpieces like Journey, Flower, and I believe Flow. I'm not sure if they did anything between their PS3 games and this one. They might have, and maybe I'm just not thinking of it. But Sword of the Sea is basically like Journey. It looks a lot like Journey, where it takes place in this really vibrant, sandy, mysterious fantasy world. Only you have kind of like a surfboard, or maybe it's a skateboard. If it depends on how you look at it, skateboard or surfboarding, and it's really fun. I've always been a little bit of a critic when it came to Journey, is that even though the music in that game was phenomenal and it looked amazing and the art design was spectacular and the game was kind of an emotional roller coaster, I always thought it lacked in gameplay and substance. When that game came out in PS3, way back in 2012, I believe it was, it was 15 bucks and it was only a couple hours long, and those 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours didn't have a lot of like engaging gameplay. I always thought it was a little on the overrated side simply because it didn't offer a lot of gameplay depth and substance and value, but I still really liked it a lot. Sword of the Sea is like Journey, except it doesn't have that problem I have with it. Now, this is twice as expensive. It's 30, but it is like 5 hours long, and those 5 hours are really, really fun. You can fucking jump off sand dunes. You can grind on like rails and stuff. You can even jump on like animals and just glide the sky. And there's a lot of collectibles, and none of which feel like padding. It all feels like it's there to serve the game's premise about basically cleaning the world and bringing water back to the world. Whether you're in a desert or in a frozen tundra or wherever, the game is about cleansing the world, and the collectibles really tie into that. So it was just a very, very worthwhile experience. The music was fantastic. The art direction, again, it looks just like Journey, but with a surfboard. And there's also chapter select, so you can go back and, in case you missed something, you can go back, find all the collectibles. And there's even a New Game Plus mode that lets you grind out all your upgrades. You can visit a shopkeeper and, trade in the gold, or I forgot what it was called, but you can trade in what you collect to him, and he'll get you like a new cool upgrade that you can use to increase your combos. And so yeah, there's New Game Plus, and this is basically like just as amazing as Journey, but also more deep in gameplay value and more replayable, more replay value. I do have a couple criticisms with it still. Like the camera can still shift when you don't want it to. The camera has a tendency to like wander in a certain direction, and it can kind of screw up your jumps. Like if you're trying to get like a hard to reach collectible that's like on a broken bridge, and you gotta like jump and then kind of like glide there. Sometimes the camera has a tendency to shift. And also, the last half hour or so of the game was pretty frustrating. You're in a volcano. It kind of sours the exploration a bit. But other than that, this was a really outstanding indie game from a really, really artistically brilliant developer. I'm gonna give Sword of the Sea a 9 out of 10. It's amazing. Yeah, I do think it's one of the best indie games of the year. It is. Anyway, guys, yeah, those were the 4 games that I played on PS Plus Extra. I only have a couple days left, and I'm working like all day these next few days, so I don't know, I'll probably play something like every 2 hours after work and before bedtime. Hmm. Maybe Alone in the Dark 2 from '96. It's like really outdated. Maybe that. Anyway, um, coming up next, I'm going to give you guys my very first Nintendo Switch game review. Hades 2. I bought Hades 2. On the Switch 1, I don't have a Switch 2 yet. I don't know if I'll ever have a Switch 2 because they're fucking expensive, but I bought it on Switch 1, so I'll give you a review. I fucking loved Hades 1. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and a lot of people are saying Hades 2 is even better than Hades 1. So yeah, that'll be interesting. It might be a 10 out of 10, depending on how I view it, but Yeah, expect to see a review of that at some point, maybe mid-October, and then I'll have a Jigsaw Let's Play for Halloween, like the day before Halloween. So yeah, stay tuned for those two October videos, and as always, thank you for watching.